guess I was freezed up, fresh out of the deeper freezer, cause I'm deeper than any voice on speakers. I can't hear y'all haters, you gotta speak up. I don't need to slow down, I need to speak up. Anonymous activity, Bobby B stuff. Jealousy's a ski mask, the motion, and ease up. Fresh out of the freezer. Fresh, guess I was freezed up, fresh out of the deeper freezer, cause I'm deeper than any voice on speakers. I can't hear y'all haters, you gotta speak up. I don't need to slow down, I need to speak up. Anonymous activity, Bobby B stuff. Jealousy's a ski mask, the motion, and ease up. Fresh out of the freezer. Fresh, guess I was freezed up.
Welcome to the Ultimate DJ Music Review and More Talk Show. I am your host, Miss Taj B. Y'all know me and this pruder always going through it. But I have here, guys, something that you're not used to on this show. Because normally you only see this with either me and Fro and Hassan or whoever. But because of the current events in the world, I wanted to bring together a dynamic group of people from different, totally different dynamics. One science, one political, one law enforcement, one art, and which is a diverse panel. And just to get you guys kind of to see it from every angle. So I want to welcome to the stage Mr. Frank Carbone Jr., who is not just one of my partners out there in the world, but also a very intelligent man. And I'm going to let him come up, and I'm going to let everybody come up one by one and introduce themselves. Frank.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourself to people?
Yes, I'll try. I don't know him yet, just so you know.
Now, I mean, you know the audience.
I know. I've been around for many moons. I've been in the computer manufacturing industry, support support personnel, special engineer. I've been a columnist. I've had a lifetime experience in analytical troubleshooting of different types of systems in the automotive industry and then in the computer industry. So there was certain things that, have my interest in those particular disciplines, and human illnesses as they relate to industry, as they relate to the outdoors, zoonotic connection between zoonotic diseases in humans, PFAS chemicals. I have a site, a Facebook venue. Right now, I'm locked out of Facebook until I can prove who I am to get back in. But I'm interested in the overwhelming poisoning of our water supply and products by PFAS chemicals, and I've written about that extensively, and I've appeared on this show for a PowerPoint presentation that I've done different places publicly. So roughly in a nutshell, that's what I'm about. I see the human body as a mechanic with a central processing unit, and it might have a soul and it might not. So that's a rough outline. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to welcome to the stage Mr. Damon K. Jones, who is also formerly in law enforcement and also an author. So I'll give him a chance to explain who he is and what he does. Damon, welcome.
Am I on mute?
No, I hear you.
Oh, okay, great.
We hear you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Damon K. Jones. I am currently the publisher of Black Westchester Magazine, blackwestchester.com, independent Black news media outlet based in Westchester County. As Tasha said, I'm retired correction officer, 33 years. I'm also the New York representative of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America. I authored a few books on health and wellness, police reform, business, AI, how to utilize AI for your business, and I also authored a book called Emotional Politics, Logical Failure, and talked about the political emotional stream that Black people go through with these political parties, and how we need to focus on a Black agenda for Black America itself. So, and that's me.
Yes. Okay. And then we also have a third panelist, which would be our fourth, Dr. Corrie Terry in the building. I think you guys might love her. She's awfully, awfully intelligent as well. Uh, welcome.
Hey, good evening, all.
Good evening.
And
Good evening.
introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, what you do, or how you do.
Okay, my name is Corrie Terry. I am a registered nurse, doctor of health administration, and a community advocate. And I like to think an all-around nice person, except when I get on my pedestal. Um, I am extremely interested in the trajectory of this country. I believe that we are in trouble, and it's not because of a man. I am a Christian, so I heard somebody say, you don't know if the body got a soul or not. I'm all soul. I truly believe in something I learned in my Christian background, that we don't go to war against flesh and blood. We war against principalities and strongholds.
And
And we
spiritual
are,
wickedness in high
we
places.
are
Absolutely.
yes, in high places. We are dealing with institutions that are so ingrained in this country that the thought of not having them, it creates a lot of fear in folks. So I'm going to pull back because I'm not ready to get up on my soapbox yet. But nice to meet
Okay.
all of you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, welcome.
Same here.
You guys, normally I do a 5-question type of situation. I broke it down to 4 questions because it's 4 panelists, and I'm gonna kind of do like a round robin. This is my way of breaking the ice. So, the one question will apply to everyone on the panel, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. You guys ready for the question?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, intersections of expertise. How can disciplines that seem worlds apart, such as art, technology, science, and social justice, work together to address one global issue in a way that no single field could achieve alone? Frank, on you.
Okay. I see many of our problems today in the different disciplines in different areas of the world, different areas of the country, and solving problems. Everybody has to be on the same page, and we need to understand the differences between cause and effect. And I think what's happened over the years is we've gotten away from identifying the true causes. It seems as though we're working on solving problems with just the effects only. So, in my opinion, we're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to be able to solve our problems until we recognize the difference between cause and effect.
Damon?
I think we're not focusing on outcomes. If we all believe, let's just say, crime and violence, right? If we all believe that crime and violence is an issue, and someone comes along and solves the crime and violence, we're not focused on the outcome. We are focused on the personalities. We're focused on the political parties. We're focusing on the rhetoric. We're focusing on the differences instead of focusing on how do we create these outcomes for our communities, for our nation, for the world, right? So I think we have to start focusing on how to focus on what outcomes do we want and how do we get to these outcomes, instead of allowing all the other distractions to fill our head and distract us from positive outcomes.
Corey?
Oh, I think, no, I know. I'm not going to say I think. I know that until we come to a common place where we are standing on a level ground and we understand that we are more than our differences, that we are more than our opinions, then we are more than Corrie is a doctor and Damon is a police officer and Frank is a businessman and Tasha is a DJ. Until we come to a level playing ground where we can see that every single input impacts that outcome that Damon wants to see. We're not standing on level ground, not globally, not nationally, not in our communities, until we start taking the labels off of one another and seeing each other as the human beings that we each are. And that, listen, if the bomb get dropped, we all dying. Ain't gonna be no black people get to the back or white people, y'all, everybody gonna die. If we have a mass global famine, everybody gonna be hungry. And I don't think that we as human beings are capable of reaching a level ground because our egos are too busy assigning us titles and assigning other people titles. Everybody wants to be the king. And we see where that's going, right? I yield back.
Right.
Now, for me, I see it in a whole manner because I look at things as hold the gate, right? Y'all know I'm a coordinator, so I don't see things in black and white. I see everything in vivid color. So I'm a person that looks at it as hold the gate, right? And if you're doing your part and I'm doing my part, there's no way that we can fucking clash. You get what I'm saying? There's a part for everybody to play in this thing called life. But if you're constantly jumping on my side to tell me what the hell I need to do, and I'm constantly jumping on your side to tell you what the hell to do, and being Christian people, we know that we all come here as God's people to do what God say do. You get what I'm saying? But if you're always jumping on my side and my partition to tell me what to do, who's holding your part of the gate? I feel like everybody should practice and stand in their discipline as strong as they can, because what we call it in Christianity is anointing. So I believe that everybody should stand in their anointing as strong as they can, because when you start to try to override and utilize my anointing for your benefit is when things start to crash. And so that's just my opinion.
I think that's a very strong statement, and I do agree with you, Tasha. On some level, I do agree that we all need to act accordingly in our anointing.
Yes.
And we need to acknowledge who we are and what we bring to the table. I like to say that I'm not going to go to dinner with a table of Muslims with a pot of chitlins. It ain't gonna work. Ain't nobody gonna eat with me.
Exactly.
I think in acknowledging what you bring to the table, you also must acknowledge what other people are bringing to the table.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
what makes their function help to build the greater good. And again, I say that we don't look at that. We don't look at what makes us the same as much as what we look at what makes us different, which always got somebody driving in the wrong lane. If they're looking at you and saying, oh, well, let me see what she's doing, those Karens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
And
well,
Karen
but
is not
still,
just a white woman. Karen is all of us when we get out of our own lane.
When we get on our shit. That's right. Go
Right.
ahead.
Get out of
but
our own. When
everybody
we
has
get
to
out
be
of our own
authentic
lane.
too. People have to be authentic in what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Not everybody, not everybody, not everybody is in the work to do it for the benefit of all the people. Some people are in the work for the benefit of themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you know, we're around a lot of them. You know, and this is one of the reasons why our issues are not being addressed, especially as Black Americans in the Black community. You know, because we got leaders that are not leading us. They're leading us to the slaughter, not leading us to the promised land.
Yes.
You know, and
Sometimes we walk
we
into the slaughter.
well, yeah,
Sometimes
you know,
where Frank at? Is he still there?
I'm
Yeah.
here.
Frank's
I'm
there.
here. I'm here. Just giving everybody a chance to tell their story. I see things a little bit differently. That's why we have a mixed crowd here. Um, I see things differently. The first thing I'm noticing is there was a change probably somewhere after World War II in this country where because of certain types of capitalism, I'm not just saying capitalism in general, I'm saying certain types of capitalism. The first descriptive adjective would be corrupt.
Mhm.
And then it would be corrupt capitalism, greedy capitalism. And we have all these different types of capitalism in this country, in this world, working out of this country, working out of other countries. Their main reason for being here is to profit. Unfortunately, they're profiting on the suffering of the people. So capitalism, and connect that with also good old American fascism. And somebody had enough power many years ago, probably 40 plus years ago, to change the definition of fascism in the dictionary. And you can prove it yourself. Go and get your old dictionary out and get a modern, recently revised dictionary and look up the word fascism. And so what we have here is we're still working under the old version of American fascism, but they're describing it differently in the dictionary. So what happened in the 40s were, in order to keep up with the Joneses, sorry for the Joneses, I had a neighbor like
Don't worry about it.
We call them the Johnsons. Don't worry about it. You good.
Okay, thank you for understanding. So, in order to keep up with the Joneses and everybody else, and with all these products were coming out then post-war, and there was something happening where, in order to make ends meet, to keep up with the Joneses, get a new car, get a new home, uh, buy new things. TVs were coming out, all these different electronic products were coming out. Still are. So, in order for people to keep up with everything and have that nice home and the front lawn and the back lawn, they had to get a second job. So the lady of the house had to go to work, where normally up to that point the lady was taking care of the kids at home and taking care of the home, making sure everybody was eating the best foods and everything. So it got worse because then uh, men found that in order to keep up, they had to get a second job themselves. So who's taking care of the kids?
No.
Yeah,
To
the
hire
world.
somebody to
The
take care of
world.
the kids.
Yep, the
And
world.
Well, yeah.
the kids at the time, that was the beginning, that was the changing, in my opinion now. And I'm not the expert here. This is my opinion. So
Well, that's
you had
part
somebody to take care of the
that's
kids.
part
That
of it.
costs money. The kids were out of sight. You don't know what somebody's doing with your kids. They could have been in school part of the time, and then the rest of the time they had to go to somebody else's house, or somebody came to her house. So the kids were pretty much without real parents. They had somebody else watching them and taking care of them. Uh, and the fact that they were exposed uh, to all this violence in their environment, especially today, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 60 years ago. The violence, general violence, everywhere you looked, in every corner of our society, on TV, in the sports industry, in the entertainment industry, all these shoot 'em up movies, the horror movies. These little kids were exposed to it, and they still are. So, with that being said, these we've conditioned future killers in this country. We just had a shooting in a school. People don't value life, human life. They might
Yeah.
value pet, their pet life more than they do human life. So the thing is, what I'm saying is something changed, and there is a major cause here. We have to understand this cause. And
Corey, something's buzzing.
not me.
You still hear it?
Yeah, something's buzzing.
Hold on a second.
Go ahead, Frank. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So it still continues to this day. The fact that little kids are farmed out so the parents can work to keep up with the Joneses. And what is the major cause? The major cause is the cost of goods and services continues to rise. The cost of living continues to rise. It doesn't matter who's in office. They keep pushing the envelope. They keep increasing the cost to increase profits on all these goods and services and other things along the way. The cost of doing business, the cost of our government, what the government is costing us around the world. We're the policeman of the world. This is costing us a lot of money. Just also the cost of the medical industry in this country. I just heard numbers. I didn't verify it. It didn't come with a list, but we are spending $4.9 trillion a year on the medical industry. And again, I didn't see the list, but you can only imagine what it is. It's about medical care, office care, emergency room care, insurance costs. It's becoming to a point that it's ridiculous and it's not working. We are a sick country, physically, mentally, and financially.
Now, let me see. Corey, that's your field. You want to speak to that?
Well, I actually work in I'm a utilization review specialist, so I work very deeply in the insurance, in health insurance, and I've been a nurse now for greater than 40 years. And while I agree with you, I don't agree with you. We are a sick country because of our excesses. A lot of the disease that I see coming through the door is not organic. It is what we do to ourselves. And that's because this is a more country. The more we get, the more we want. We don't practice wellness. We chase longevity and we chase the desire to have more. So saying that on any given day, I can have 4 or 5 gentlemen, whether they're African American, Hispanic, or Caucasian, come into our organization for care, and they all have the same illnesses. If you look at if they all might be hypertensive with kidney failure, right? It's how they get care. It's not fair in this country, Frank. Black people don't get the same care that people that look like you get. I know it because, hey, let me finish.
I know.
I know it because I work in it. And I see what's done. And I see how professionals, not just white professionals of color, fail people of color, you walk in the door, and the first thing they're saying is complains of. That's a black person or a person of color. And then a white person walks in and it says experiencing. It's even in the verbiage, how it's presented. And I'm not going to say that, I will say that there's a lot of people who are not people of color who come through the door who either have no insurance or on state insurance, and they still get treated differently. We got to see things for the way they are. You know, I've sat in meetings and listened to paid professionals make statements about people based only on the color of their skin or the environment they come from.
Yeah.
And that's why we're a sick country, Frank, because people, listen, I always say that the pharmaceuticals are the ones who run the country.
True.
Take away the drugs and people start dying, you'll see. Look at what happened with COVID. Prime example of politicizing wellness and dangling people's health in front of them like a gold carrot. I come from a belief that wellness should be centralized, that everybody in this country should get the same level of care, that the money should be spread out across evenly for everybody, that you should not have to worry about getting the health care you need because you don't have the insurance. And I know we rush people out the hospital before they're well enough.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the money.
Yeah.
Or the insurance. I see it every single day. But we politicize everything. Everything becomes a political token or coin. Oh, we're not going to tell the pharmacy to pull back on giving them this medications. They took away pain medications, right? Prescription pain medications. And what did people do? Got out here and started making their own. And they're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
Fentanyl deaths are through the roof. It was a time people couldn't even get their hands on fentanyl. But they politicized marijuana till they could control it. And marijuana is probably a better healer than fentanyl. It is a better healer, hands down. I'm pulled back because I get started. I told y'all, I try to tell you. Especially when it comes to
so now let me say this. I want to direct it over to Damon on that note because he winds up with the ass end of that deal in law enforcement.
Well, I want to before I get to law enforcement, I want to unpack some things that Frank and Dr. Corrie said.
Okay, go ahead.
Frank talked about the breakdown of the family, right? And yes, in 1965, Patrick Moynihan from New York, I think he was a senator or congressman, one of them. Mm-hmm. He did a report called The Negro Family, The Case for National Action.
Mm-hmm.
In that report, 17%, listen to what I'm about to say, 17% of Black children at that time in 1965 was born out of wedlock. Fast forward to 2025, it's almost 80%. Black children born out of wedlock. Now they thought that in 1965 that it was a case for national action. And what happened? At 17%, they felt that it was a case. So Frank is correct in what he's saying. You know, and when it comes to the Black community, this was called out in 1965. Now we know that family structure, man, woman together, more economic stability, and then we have a culture that is just broken down, as Frank's saying, through the music, through this, through that, through marketing. right? We know that the feminism movement was marketed to separate the man from the woman. We know that. There's reports on that. I mean, it is what it is, right? We're here right now. Now, to move forward, when you have a breakdown of family, you have a breakdown of health. Remember, we are old enough to remember that you had to sit at the table together as a family and eat dinner.
You have a breakdown.
We're old enough for that.
Well,
We're old enough for Big Mama. Now Big Mama's 45 years old. Big Mama used to be 60, 70, 80 years old when we were coming up. So it's a different generation that we're dealing with. So when we're dealing with health and we're dealing with wellness, your kitchen is your medicine cabinet. We got away from what Big Mama used to do. We even got away from the farms, right? You got Jasmine Crockett on TV talking about we don't need farming. No, Black people need farming. We're the only ethnic group in America that don't have a food chain.
I have a garden. I have a whole garden in my backyard.
Yeah, there's a people that do. You understand? But I'm talking about as a people.
I agree with you. We need to be a more agricultural, not just people, but nation.
Hold on. Let them land. Hold on. Let them land. Go ahead.
Right? So now when we go to the medical field and sisters here as a nurse, and this is the conversation that's happening now from RFK, that doctors are not taught nutrition. Now, I wrote 4 books on health and wellness. And I know doctors are not taught on nutrition. And the first thing they want to do is put you on a medication.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you got diabetes for 40 years and you going to the same doctor, that doctor should have an F.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right? Because we all know diabetes is curable.
Mm-hmm. I'm
We
a
all know
witness.
that.
I'm a
High blood
witness.
pressure is curable.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Our cholesterol is curable. But we created a culture in this medical field that people are dependent on these pills. And these pills come with side effects. Then you're on another pill, and then you're on another pill, and then you're on another pill. So we created, as Sister said, a culture of dependency. Mm-hmm. But we still need to break it within. Part of that is the breakdown of, to me, it goes all the way back to family. Now, we also have the lack of Black businesses. I just did a report. Everybody went crazy in Westchester County. There's only 3% of Black businesses. So how are you going to employ people to get medical benefits if you don't have businesses to employ Black folks? So we got to pivot. We have to figure out how do we as a nation. See, my position is this: if Black America don't stand up, then America ain't standing up. Period. So we got to figure it out because we are right. We are the consumers.
I agree.
We are the consumers.
We're the biggest consumers.
And the biggest people that are sick.
Mm-hmm.
So and we go back to these leaders, man. They're taking us down a rabbit hole that we're not gonna get out of. Even though Washington is doing what Washington doing, Pharaoh has let us go. But at the end of the day, we have to think independent and change our mindset.
Agreed.
And we got to get back to family.
Now, Frank, I'm sorry, Damon. Frank, you and I always have this conversation about the medications and the effect, the effect.
Yes.
Do you want to expunge on that any bit?
Yes, thank you. I've been, like I said, I've been around for many, many years. I was my father's nurse for the last year of his life. That opened my eyes to the medical, I'm going to call it the medical industry.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time, several years ago, 70% of the drugs we were using in this country weren't even made in this country.
Mm-hmm.
We During that time period, up till about 5 years ago, there was a major investigation, and it involved counterfeit drugs,
Mm-hmm.
counterfeit prescription drugs, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
And if you might remember this, if you watch, excuse me, 60 Minutes, uh,
Mm-hmm.
what happened was uh, somebody discovered, or maybe they were offered, counterfeit statin drugs. There is such a thing called the cholesterol myth. Just like we've been fooled over the years. And there's a quote by Mark Twain that I'd like to insert here. It's easier to fool people than it is to convince them they've been fooled. So there's been things that we've been fooled by the medical industry in this country over the years. And it turns out, in some cases, it turns out to be in pandemic form. And it just goes across the whole country and profits go up and everything. So anyway, the 70% of these drugs, and again, we who's watching the store here to make sure that the drugs we're getting are authentic drugs. It's bad enough that we see that we're inundated by all these ads on TV, all these drug ads. It depends upon what your definition of the word drug is too. That's another big thing that I've done surveys, my own personal surveys, and asked people, what does the word drug mean to you? And you would be surprised at what comes back. Some people think it's this, some people think it's that. I thought it was an age thing. I thought it was like people that were maybe above 60 years old, the word drug meant one thing. People below 60, it meant something else. It's not true. I think you know what I'm talking about here.
I do.
The other thing is people who are on so many prescriptions each day, and there's some confusion of what X means. When it says X2, there's no X, it says it right on the bottle, but you don't get all those warnings with that drug. And I'm going to use an example. Eliquis. It's a very expensive drug, and the
Yes, it
copay
is.
varies between patient from insurance company to insurance company.
For
People
AFib.
think
Mm-hmm.
it's for AFib, and they say it's a blood thinner. They've been calling it blood thinner since my mother was alive on this earth more than 30 years ago. But it's I questioned my doctor. I says, why do they call it a blood thinner without knowing or without testing me for my viscosity of my blood first? He said, well, it's really not a blood thinner. I says, well, I think you need to write a paper on this because that's what everybody thinks, it's a blood thinner. It may not even be doing what it's supposed to be doing. So who's watching the store? So when I got, hey, I'm not on it, by the way. I quit. I developed a hematoma within 3 weeks of starting that medication because they scared me. They said, if you don't take this medication, you can die, you can get a stroke, you can get a heart attack. I developed a hematoma in my body. Never had that before. And there's other people that have developed brain bleeds. So who's watching the store here? In the package that I got a 90-day supply. No, I think a 30-day supply was something like it was cost more than $2,000. Some people's copay was like $500. And so I called the phone number in there of the FDA just to register a complaint. When I talked to this lady, she spoke with authority, and I said to her, I says, I just started taking this drug, Eliquis, and I said, when I opened up the package that it came in, I had a piece of paper that was like onion skin thin paper, and it was printed both sides. It was about almost 4 feet long by 12 inches wide, printed both sides, and the first 2 or 3 pages you could read without a magnifying glass. All the rest you needed a magnifying glass. So when I said to the lady, I developed a hematoma because of this. I never had a hematoma before. I believe they believed me when I said this. So now I had to go for additional treatments, and I stopped taking it on my own. I didn't need to ask anybody. But what I learned after joining 3 different groups online, for AFib, I found out that people were developing hematomas and brain bleeds, and different things were happening to them. And if they tried to report this to the FDA like I did, and like I was instructed to do on the paperwork that came with it, this is the first time I'm speaking about this publicly. I've written about it quite a bit. Like I said, I belong to 3 different AFib groups, and not everybody is in agreement on the treatment or even the diagnosis here.
Okay.
And so anyway, but the other thing is, these people that are on so many different drugs, I have people in my family that are on 12 different prescription drugs each day, and plus over-the-counter drugs. They're mixing all these things together in a 24-hour period, and there's some confusion on what 2x, 3x, and 4x means to some people. Some people think that 4x means you're taking 4 pills 4 times a day in daylight hours. They don't use the 24 hours. This I came across. So
Frank, let me get Corrie to speak on that real quickly, because I want to go back to Damon with the law enforcement and the probability of all these things having an effect on the mental, which leads to this physical incarceration eventually. Corrie, can you speak on any of this stuff that Frank's talking about?
It's so much here. I'm going to ask that we come back.
We're gonna have a part 2 to this. I've already explained to Frank,
because I
didn't
really
tell
do
Damon yet.
I really do think that this is great stuff. But let's unpack some stuff here. Let me pull out my Louis Vuitton and let's unpack some stuff here. First, I want to speak to Damon. While I do believe that the breakdown of the family has severely impacted our abilities to progress forward, I would like you to watch a movie that I watched the other night. It's called The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. The Wild, and West Virginia ought to tell you right there, coal miners.
My roots.
My husband's family is from West Virginia as well. They're from Blue Ridge and Bluefield. So I want you to know that it has not just been a systematic breakdown of Black families, but it's been a systematic breakdown of families who are not we exist in a classism.
Yes.
Before we existed in racism. Classism existed.
Yes.
The first slaves that came here looked like Frank, didn't look like us.
Yes.
So I say that. Recently, I went to, I'm going to give myself to 10 minutes to get all this out, 12 minutes. Recently, me and my family went on a trip to Charleston, South Carolina. I hate Charleston, South Carolina, probably the most racist state I've ever been in. It was horrible. I got loved ones that live there, and I'll go visit them, but I'll bring my butt home. We went on a tour called the Gullah Geechee tour.
Yeah.
And if you know about Gullah Geechee, Charleston was the central entryway from Africa, almost a direct line from Ghana, which was the exit from Africa, all points exit to all point entrance into Charleston. And as we went to these different sites, and the tour guide, his name is Alfonso Miller. If you ever go to Charleston and go on that Geechee tour, let Mr. Miller direct you. He even takes you to the site of the Emmanuel 9, who were killed by Dylan Roth. As he talked about it, what was going through my head was, now, they may have came over there to get us, but why did we go? Hold on to that right there. Hold on to that piece right there. Why did all of these masses of people get on the boat? What kind of environment was created that instilled in them that their lives that they were living in Africa would be better if they got on the boat? It wasn't always fear that put them on the boat. I think we become romanticized in how we think about how people create institutions that control us. We act like we're powerless when we're not.
Right.
Fast forward 200 years, we're in the 1960s, where Frank landed us, right? After World War II. We landed in, and World War II didn't mean nothing for black people. We still came back to Jim Crow.
Exactly.
Jim Crow did not exist before the end of slavery. Jim Crow was the response that institutions had to maintain control. All of this is about control. I'm getting to you with this, Frank. I'm coming right up on that medication stuff.
Thank you.
You can't control people who are strong. You have to weaken them. How were people weakened in the eras post-Civil War? Well, they were weakened because laws were created that criminalized and demonized them. Just like we're seeing right now in Washington, D.C., where they are criminalizing homelessness. So how are you going to criminalize homelessness and then turn around and take away Section 8? You talking about getting rid of Section 8. How you going to criminalize homelessness? Now, while Mr. Kennedy, the esteemed RFK Jr., may have some good points there, he's going about it all the wrong way.
Absolutely.
He's going about it all the wrong way. You cannot help people unless you empower people. And people need to be empowered with their health. And I'm going to tell you why I know that, because in 2008, I found out I was a diabetic. I was driving down the highway from work and I went blind. Told you about this, Tasha, right? Thought I had the flu and I'm drinking orange juice. I'm a nurse. I'm a medical professional. And I did not see the signs. And I'm driving down the highway and I went blind and I got off the highway and my brother's house was not too far away. I said, you know what? Let me get your finger stick. I need to check my blood sugar. And my blood sugar was over 1,100. Should have been below 100. It was over 1,100. After that, I ended up with high blood pressure. I went on insulin in 2008. In 2019, I was in my house in the middle of the night cleaning up like I like to do. And all of a sudden, it felt like I was having a heart attack. I became diaphoretic. My chest was hurting. My stomach was hurting. I was extremely sick. Something was wrong. I was in the house with my granddaughter and my husband. My granddaughter was about 5. I told my husband, just get her out of here because I don't want her to see me die, because I really believed I was dying. I went into the hospital. Frank, I had been on that insulin and metformin and lisinopril, and I was on 23 meds at the time. And my A1C never got better. My blood pressure was still through the roof. I went in the hospital. I was in the hospital 13 days. That's too long to be in the hospital. Way too long. I was in the hospital 13 days. And then while I was in the hospital those 13 days, I noticed a couple of things. They didn't give me the medications that the doctors were I said, well, do I need to get my medication from home? They said, no, it's okay. You know, they were giving me IV fluids, which my body needed.
Right.
And it was regulating my body. Let me tell you something. I walked up out of that hospital. I never took insulin again. My A1C right now, I'm considered not diabetic.
God bless.
Because my A1C, I stopped taking metformin. The metformin is the devil. It's the devil, just like that eloquence. Yes, the devil. So what I'm saying here is I'm trying to connect these to let you know the pharmaceutical companies, the insurance companies, they are invested in us not being well.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not invested in our wellness.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
They are invested in us being sick because they profit from it. And then who profits from it? Let me ask y'all this, and then I'm going to step back. Do you really think that they didn't know that COVID was on its way?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I told
that was a planned attack against the people globally. It got out of control.
Yeah.
It got out of control because
it was a planned attack on the elders.
Because dear leader didn't pay attention.
Right.
He didn't pay attention. He was supposed to pull it back, and he didn't. And he let everything, and it made a big old mess. And they had to shut the world down. But we are never going to, as long as somebody, who said it earlier, as long as somebody is benefiting from the weakness of other people, they are going to create institutions that weaken and destroy families and individuals. There I go.
Okay. Now, Damon, of course, I asked Corrie and I asked Frank these questions because, I want them in two different realms, because I practice all natural medicine. Me and Corrie have been talking about this stuff forever with the metformin and the statins. And also me and Frank have been talking about them forever. Believe it or not, my kidneys, which have been failing, not failing, but not as orderly as they should be since I was a child. They took a turn maybe about 2 weeks ago, and it was actually Frank who helped me be able to urinate again. Even after I went to the doctors and everything else, the doctors never did anything to help me with that. I literally had to call my friend who has all knowledge in this type of stuff, like, Frank, I can't pee, something's wrong. And he gave me the instructions of, well, Tosh, I need for you to do this, and I need for you to shift yourself because your body shifts at a certain time, and you need to shift all this stuff back into place so that it aligns properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to pee. Now, the doctor had given me everything. She sent me to all kind of stuff. I needed to go through. The man had just went through the machine and died, and she tried to send me that damn direction. Corrie, I wasn't going, right? You know how I am, right? And then, of course, we talked about those statins and that metformin and stuff. They put me on metformin. I gained 40 pounds on it. It had an adverse effect on me.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a nasty drug. It's a nasty drug.
And as soon as I quit, I lost that weight. Mm-hmm. Go figure. So, Damon, what I'm saying to you is you've seen it up close and personal, the drugs on the inmates. And that's why I had directed it to you when it comes to the inmate services and stuff, because you're a witness to what happens in the end result. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, they medicate all the inmates. I started in 1990, and they used to, the nurses used to say, if you see us crush the drugs, that means they're powerful. These for the people that, are mentally, not stable and stuff like that. And it used to be just 2 blocks, 2 housing areas where, you walk with the nurse and they call the guys to the front and they give them. By the time I retired 33 years later, it was damn near every block. So a lot of the issues that they see in the correctional facilities, they label it as mental issues. And they put these young men and these women on these drugs. And then they go out in the world, and 9 times out of 10, they can't get them no more. So what do they do next? They go get crack cocaine, weed, alcohol, right? To feel that numbness that they were getting for 6 months to a year in the county jail. And we really have to pay attention how they treat our people in these facilities.
Yep.
Because they don't treat them correctly. And you gotta really question these politicians on the medication that they're giving them. And they're not even, and they're giving them second rate medication, because a lot of these jails now, the health services are privatized.
And their toilet, they're trash.
Exactly.
They're
Exactly.
trash.
So they giving them the cheapest medication, whatever they prescribe, they're giving them the cheapest they can find because it's a business.
Yep.
And they have to stick with the bottom line.
Who's going to profit?
Exactly. We're back to the profiting. And they profit off of black people. They've been profiting off of black people pain for
Because they
decades.
brought us off them boats.
Exactly. 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 But the crazy thing about it is when the laws in Thomas Sowell calls it the hidden era of black history from emancipation to, I'm going to say, to 1950. Black communities was thriving.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were thriving. Capitalism in black communities back then was thriving. We didn't have the capitalism that Frank was talking about, right? We had cooperative economics.
There you go. That's the word. Cooperative
but
economics. Building together.
And it was so great, they had to destroy them. Black Wall Street,
there you go.
All these other things. They had to destroy them. They had to destroy them because we were thriving better than white folks in that era, and they don't talk about it. The only person that had actually written about it was Thomas Sowell.
Well, Michelle Alexander wrote about it as well now. In the new Jim
she
Crow.
has, but I'm talking about in detail. I'm talking about detail. Like, look, we did it before. Why haven't we done? We did it before with all that, and we have less now, and we have more spending power, and we're not doing it now.
Well, you know why, Damon. Look at when we got strong like that, moving into the 60s, right up to the point where we used our economic power to shut down racism and segregation through boycotts, right? And here we got right into the White House. We got right to the White House, and we were able to get that Civil Rights Act enforced.
Yeah, but that Civil Rights Act got hijacked.
No. What I'm saying is the empowerment that came behind that helped create entities like the Black Panther Party, which was immediately demonized. Now, I am a product of the Black Panther Party. That was my daycare and my summer and my summer camp. That's where I ate when my parents didn't have the money. In Queens, New York, in Corona, Queens, we went down to Northern Boulevard to the Black Panther Party, and they fed us breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. It was created to help with that cooperative economics in the Black
you're absolutely
Latino
right.
community. And what did they do?
They destroyed it.
They destroyed it because they said we didn't have a right to carry firearms. That's where it all started because the Black Panther Party said, well, we have a right to carry firearms the same way you do. And then you began to see the influx of heroin into our communities because Black people couldn't afford cocaine and heroin back in those days.
Right.
We didn't use those drugs. We drank alcohol and wine. And then you began to see an influx of these chemicals that we didn't make and we couldn't afford into our communities. And this, again, goes back to control. How do we control?
So drink white lightning.
The great white lightning.
Frank, now you showing your West Virginia roots, baby.
Wait a minute, guys. Now listen, you know our show is usually an hour long.
Okay.
I know that our one of our teammates has a show coming on right behind mine. What I would like to do, and I've already spoken to Corrie and Frank. I hadn't had a chance to speak to Damon about this, but I knew with the talent that I had on stage, this thing would go a little further than an hour. So I'm asking you guys, and I'm hoping that if I set it up for next week, where you guys come back and finish the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
because
I like these two guys. I like them.
yeah, I told you that. I told everybody about everybody, right? I told everybody cool on my stage. And I only pick people who I know have decorum. You get what I'm saying? Because there's a level of professionalism, even with the children, that we have to display in order for them to be able to take our lead. And if our dynamic, like I said about holding the gate, is not intact, then theirs won't be. And before we got off onto it, you guys were talking about the mothers outside of the home. I'm hoping that each one of you understand now why I was a stay-at-home mom.
Mhm.
Good for you. Good for
And
you.
my children, none of them have a prison record, a jail record. None of them have any record whatsoever. All of them are in line. They're respectful. And because
And I've known all of them since they were babies, and she's known my son since he was a baby.
Yeah, and they're all straight. Nobody's in trouble. Nobody's
Never
going
been no jail, no drugs.
Right.
Well, weed. They all smoke weed.
everybody but Jamie. Jamie don't smoke. She don't drink. She don't do nothing.
Mhm.
But and my purpose was for that response and that effect at the end.
No.
Was to be with my children until they grown enough to understand the law of the land and be able to take care of themselves with me there or with me not there.
Mhm.
And they're handling that. But on that note, guys, one of the channels has stopped. Not that our YouTube has stopped, because it won't stop for 8 hours. However, what I would like to do would be to introduce you guys back next week in the same format. And then, we can go on with the rest of the questions and kind of get a little bit deeper into
I just have one question: is how do you record this, and is it an opportunity for people if I tell them go look at this?
Yes, they
go
can
look at
watch
this.
it on YouTube. That was that link that I sent you, the YouTube link.
Okay. I don't. Can you send it to me again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, because this is great stuff, and I definitely know some people who would definitely benefit from this. I would love to have more of an in-depth conversation with Frank about these pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Remind me for the next show to this is a teaser for the next show. We'll say, remind me to tell you the story about these counterfeit statin drugs that were coming into this country, how they were coming in, and how that investigation went. And number two, the whistleblower of a major American. Well, actually, it wasn't in the United States. It was in a possession, we'll say, of the United States. She was a whistleblower, blew the whistle on what was happening in the company. The CEO didn't want to do anything. This was also a 60 Minutes report. As a whistleblower, she was awarded almost $1 billion for her because she was a whistleblower. Because a whistleblower can get a certain percentage of the funds.
Frank, they're trying to get rid of that. Look at what's going on with the NLRB.
No, I thought they was trying to bring that back.
No, they're trying to get rid of any employee rights.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
They're trying to
get rid of a lot of
that.
things. Yeah. They're trying to get rid of a lot of things.
Whistleblowers.
Yeah. And so that's just the tease for the next show in case I forget.
Yeah.
I'll remember. That's a good
The
one.
other thing in closing, during the COVID time period, I had more material to write about because of my technical background and what was happening every single day. So I had all this material, and what I did, I created public service announcements, PSAs, in the form of memes. It's all on the internet. In fact, Miss Tash has the Family Stew. So if you go to the Family Stew, you'll see some of my reports there. Not all, but some. And I did put a book together, a prototype book, a 400-page.
Maybe you can help me with my book. I'm trying.
Yeah, well, what I did to make it easier, just so you know, And I'm not trying to BS anybody or anything. I put a 400-page book together overnight, and Facebook printed that book like it was a professional book. I gave Miss Tash, I believe, the front cover, image of the front cover and the back cover, and I put that together overnight. And I only had 4 copies made. That one I gave to my mentor, one I gave to one of my mentors, one I gave to my family, one I kept myself in case I went to a publisher, and there was one to my niece because she asked me to do it. So if we ever get together, well, you can see the cover because the cover's out there. But I put that together overnight because over the years, all of the memes that I created still have meaning today, still important today. And the other thing is, does the numbers 2025 mean anything to you? So 2 years now, 2025 years have passed. And when you really get down to it, even though things change in the modern world, things have not changed as far as the word mankind. It's most likely, it could be the best or the worst oxymoron that we have. Depends upon how you're looking at it. Because in 2025 years, not much has changed for mankind. So we had problems 2,000 years.
Where you keep cutting in and out. I'm gonna try and hold it on that right there.
Okay, very good.
And then when we come back next week, Damon, you'll be starting off the show.
Yeah.
All right. I guess. Yep.
Yeah, you'll be starting off the show. You'll continue on with the end of this discussion, okay?
All right,
so
got
then, you know, whatever it is that you want to wrap into the conversation, we'll start from there, and then we'll go a little bit further. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah. Now, is he going to be the cleanup man too?
Will he be the cleanup man? Well, I'm gonna clean it up. You know, I'm the diplomatic one on stage.
That's baseball talk now. That means the last guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll be the cleanup man because you know I'm the most diplomatic on the team right this minute. Because you know I kind of agree with everybody on you know different levels of everything. So in the end, will leave me as the cleanup man. But I do so very much appreciate you guys for coming through.
No, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I didn't want that this was going to be a terrible broadcast because usually I don't do terrible broadcasts.
It's good. Good. You're more important than you think.
Yeah, ours is more casual and more fun loving between people because you know I love people.
I know.
If that makes sense to y'all. So there's not a lot of headache and bickering and stuff on this channel. We actually give each channel.
It's passion.
We give each other a
chance. I welcome passion, and I welcome not just like minds, but I also welcome when somebody has a different point of view in mind. But I think eventually we all come back to the table with the same mindset. You know, where are the solutions and what part do I play in the solution to get to those outcomes?
Which leads to your initial conversation, Corrie, about us all being able to stand on even ground. You get what I'm saying? So that's what it. If you notice, we all have different disciplines. We're able to all stand on the same ground. Right. And on that, I want to say I will see you guys next week.
See you next week. I look forward to it. Take care, guys. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, social media. Dr. Corrie Terry, reach out. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah. All right. And Damon, you as well. I know you have a page as well. You want to say your page before we get off?
Oh, yeah. You go to blackwestchester.com, Black Westchester Magazine, blackwestchester.com, and Black Westchester on YouTube. We have a plethora of different shows and different topics, and we keep people mad. We just tell the news. Sometimes people don't want the news to tell. You know, we just tell the news, and we can't write about you if you don't do it.
That's right.
That's what I try to tell some of these black politicians. You know,
And Frank,
we can't write about your dumb stuff if you don't do the dumb stuff.
and Frank,
You know,
you're outing. Frank, you're outing. You want to say something on the way out?
Yes, I think what you're doing is very important. You're more important than you think. And you too, Dr. Corrie, and pardon me?
I said thank you.
Yeah, everybody, you're all important. I think it was well done. And I think you need to keep up the good work and spread the word.
Okay.
I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Yes, I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to end the stream, but you know I never end my love for you.
Yeah.
I never end my love for you. Always remember that, okay?
Stay blessed, everyone.
Okay, Damon.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Damon.
Right now.
Fresh out of the freezer. Fresh, guess I was freezed up. Fresh out of the deeper freezer, cause I'm deeper than any voice on speakers. I can't hear y'all haters, you gotta speak up. I don't need to slow down, I need to speed up. Anonymous activity, Bobby B stuff. Jealousy's a ski mask, emotion, and eat up. Fresh out of the freezer. Fresh, guess I was freezed up. Fresh out of the deeper freezer, cause I'm deeper than any voice on speaker.